Welcome to Invest Out West podcast. I'm Nat Micken.
And I'm Kahlia Micken. We are a husband and wife team who live and invest in Western Queensland.
Join us on our journey of creating passive income through mindset, business, crypto, and property investing. Welcome to the second episode of our Invest Out West podcast.
We want to lead with a mindset quote from Gary Vaynerchuk that says, "No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care."
Yeah, so today we'd like to go into a little bit of detail about one of the towns that we have one of our investment houses in. So this town is called Blackall. Now, the postcode of Blackall is 4472, and a little bit of backstory about Blackall. Now, I don't want to sound like I know everything there is to know about Blackall, because I don't. There'll be people listening who will live in Blackall and know a lot more about it than me, but I'd just like to sort of outline a little bit about it just for people who don't know. So it was Major Thomas Mitchell in 1846 who explored that country, and Blackall Township was gazetted in 1868. Now, the current population of Blackall is about 1,000 in the township, with about 2,000 across the Shire. Now, the main attraction of Blackall back in the wool heyday was the wool scour, and it was started to be built in 1908, and it was in production until 1978. So it went all that time, and then in 78 it shut down, and that was where Jackie Howe in 1892 done the biggest record for number of sheep shorn in 1892. He done 321 sheep, short 321 sheep in 7.5 hours. And that wool scour, it was the hub of Blackall up until 78, and then once that shut down and the sheep sort of started to the sheep numbers started to move out of the area, there was the big sheep slump, the wool slump, I should say, like in the 80s. And it has been on a downward spiral up until recently, when there has been more sheep started to move back into the area. And what we sort of looked at with Blackall when we decided to buy there was the wool mill that is proposed. So that, like the last wool scour shut down in 78, but this one is going to be a whole new thing to produce wool, or like to process wool, and that is going to cost around 198 million. So for that plant, it's not something that's just going to be for that amount of money. It's gonna need a fair bit of commitment. So we sort of said, when we looked at that, and we said, if they're going to spend that amount of money and get this plant up and running, then the Blackall Township will have to go ahead. So to just a few figures on that wool plant, the proposed wool plant. So operational is going to produce around about 812 jobs, with 270 direct jobs. So this is in a town with 1,000 a town of 1,000 population. So you're talking a really big increase in workforce, and the construction will be about 88 jobs with 39 direct jobs. So even with construction, in a town of only 1,000 people, that's going to be a lot of extra people involved in the town. And this plant, when it's under full like once it's running and full production, it's expected to produce around 130 million per year of revenue. So with that in mind, we sort of looked at Blackall and said, yeah, that is definitely one on our radar, like that town was on our radar, just because you've got that upside in the future. And we looked at the rental market already in Blackall, and it was really strong. And so we just said, well, and this is our strategy. So we look at a town that has strong rental demand, and then once, like, we look at something that is going to be there in the future, so a new industry or something coming to the town, and so once that gets into full swing, then it's only upside on top of already strong demand. So now this town is our worst performer, so we sort of thought we'd start with that. And it's actually a rental yield at the moment, just on rent, is about 6.6%. Now, that is mostly the fault of that it was very under rented, like under monetized when we bought it. We bought it with tenant in place, so we've just haven't really gone out of our way to do big increases for the tenant. As time goes on, we'll increase that up to market rent, and that will bring it back up to where we like it to be. So we don't like to go below 10, even though some of our rentals do drop below 10, especially at the moment with high interest rates. But we like to keep it around the 10. We sort of like to, especially when we buy, we'll, like back when we bought a few, or like recently, in the last few years with low interest rates, we were getting our 10 fairly easily, but just not so much at the moment with high interest rates. But the advantage of that is, with inflation, you can increase your rents to match the level of inflation, which therefore covers your higher interest rates. So that's sort of just a bit of a brief description on our worst performer. Now that's a 3-bedroom home there, 3-bedroom, one bathroom, and that house will not only increase in value substantially, it will also be able to get a lot more rent when and if the wool plant comes to fruition. So that's sort of a bit of a background about that house. We'd like to sort of go on to a little bit about our crypto at the moment. So just looking on CoinGecko, we've got Bitcoin. I like to sort of look at the numbers in Australian dollars, simply because that's sort of what you associate with rather than US dollars. So at the moment, Bitcoin is sitting at 44,442. That's down 3.2% in the last 7 days. Next one on the list is Ethereum, which is $2,503, down 1.2% in the last days. So that's the two top performers there. We recently watched a video from Crypto Crew University on YouTube. It's a YouTube channel called Crypto Crew University. It's one we always watch. We just think it's probably the best one because the fella on there goes into depth on charts, and he's sort of real good at reading charts. And his motto is men lie, women lie, but the charts don't lie. And it's good to get that perspective, just off the charts like that, straight from the charts, rather than just somebody thinking that, oh, this might happen and that might happen, without all the emotion in it. So the one that we watched recently, it went into a lot of detail about how that there's been a downturn in not only the crypto markets since 2015, but just all the share market and everything in general. And he sort of looked at that and sort of suggested that the worst would probably still be to come yet in the next few years, just for all the markets. So with that in mind, this next bull run of the crypto market, which by most people's predictions, we're in stage one of the bull run at the moment in the crypto market, and it's probably going to be a fairly weak bull run, this next one, simply because there's a lot going on with the cost of living and interest rates and all that. So it's probably not going to be a really strong bull run. But it will be a good bull run nonetheless. So I just wanted to go into a little bit about a story here. It's in The Guardian, and that was on the 16th, so that's Monday the 16th of October. This story was on here, and it went into detail about how the RBA is starting to look at crypto, and how that it's, they're starting to look at regulation, which that probably had to happen really with the regulation that's coming in America, and the amount of regulation in America at the moment has got to flow across to other parts of the world. So it's just, the biggest problem with that is crypto is not understood by a lot of people, and you got people that are trying to regulate it who don't have a clue how it works, and that is the biggest worry. And I'd just like to mention a little bit about the CBDC. I don't know how many people know about the CBDC, so I'll just read a little bit of this story here. It says, so this Brad Jones, an assistant governor of the Reserve Bank, it says, has outlined the central bank's evolving views of a tokenised future, including digital currencies in Australia. Jones said the RBA remains open-minded as to the functional forms of digital money and supporting infrastructure that could best support the Australian economy in the future. The bank, though, is only at an early stages of planning for a new product to assess how tokenised asset markets might trade in Australia. The RBA and Treasury will also publish a stocktake on their research into a central bank digital currency by around the middle of 2024, and then set out a roadmap for future work. So the CBDCs are rolling out across the world, and it's like they're a lot more developed in the likes of China and that already, but they are starting to get into the Western world. And so once that happens, I just feel that a lot of people are asleep at the wheel with CBDCs, and it's just a reminder that even Australia, this story is a reminder that even Australia is looking at CBDCs, which they're saying that's going to be around the middle of next year. So personally, I believe that we really need to be in crypto before the CBDC gets rolled out across too much of the world, because once that happens, governments, like the government power, will be on a scale that has never been seen before, I believe. And the only way to get around the CBDC is through the likes of Bitcoin. And it's not financial advice or anything, but for myself, I just think that the only way forward is through crypto to escape the government control of a CBDC. So yeah, that's just a little bit of outline about my thoughts on the CBDC and crypto at a whole. There's another story here I'd just like to touch on. When was this? This is Thursday, October 12th. It's called One News, and it says network of cryptocurrency ATMs to roll out across New Zealand. A little bit of the story here. A network of cryptocurrency ATMs are being launched across the country as one of the world's largest cryptocurrency kiosk operators expands its service to New Zealand. So I just wanted to point that out as well, and just point out that crypto isn't going anywhere, and a lot of the car makers are starting to accept crypto now, so you can buy a new car. I just can't think off the top of my head exactly how many of them, but there seems to be every couple of days there's another car maker comes out saying that they're accepting cryptocurrency as payment for cars, and you're getting the likes of these ATMs in New Zealand that are now rolling out these ATMs everywhere for especially for cryptocurrency. So try as they might, governments try to keep crypto under control because they don't like having the lack of control on cryptocurrency, but it's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. So that's just sort of my thoughts on crypto at the moment, and I'll just bring Kahlia in. Do you want to say anything?
No, I think we've pretty well covered everything today.
Yeah, so that's about all on this one, and keep living the dream.